15 money habits. No filler between them. Here's one. Name the number before you check it. Before you open your banking app, guess the balance out loud. Just a guess. This does something specific. It forces your brain to form a prediction, and predictions create a small emotional stake in the outcome. Psychologists call this the anticipation gap effect. Information that confirms or corrects a prediction gets processed very differently than information you receive cold. People who predict before checking report significantly less anxiety opening financial apps than people who check cold, because a prediction, even a wrong one, turns the check into information instead of an ambush. It works because uncertainty itself is what spikes stress hormones, not the number. Removing the uncertainty, even with a guess, removes most of the sting. 2. Replace "I can't afford it" with "How would I afford it?" The first phrase closes a mental door. Your brain stops problem-solving the moment it hears "can't," a pattern researchers call premature cognitive closure. The second keeps the door open, even if the honest answer is, "I wouldn't, not right now." This isn't about talking yourself into purchases. It's about keeping your financial thinking active instead of shutting it down reflexively, which matters because the habit of closure generalizes. The more often your brain shuts a topic down, the faster it learns to do that everywhere money's involved. This tiny linguistic shift is used deliberately in some cognitive behavioral approaches to reframe closed, hopeless-sounding statements into open, workable ones. The same reframe, just applied to money instead of mood. 3. Let one purchase a month be entirely unexplained, not unlimited. 1. Purely for yourself. No justification, even to yourself. People who suppress every discretionary want tend to break that suppression eventually. Usually with something bigger and more regretted than if they'd allowed a small, contained release valve on purpose. This mirrors a well-known pattern in restriction psychology more broadly. Total suppression of a want doesn't eliminate it. It just delays and often amplifies the eventual break. The goal isn't indulgence. It's giving the want a scheduled, contained outlet instead of an unscheduled, larger one. 4. Say your income range out loud to one person a year. Not the exact number if that feels too exposing. A range is enough. This single habit is the most direct antidote to the isolation that keeps people making financial decisions with zero outside perspective, which research consistently links to more emotionally driven, regretted choices. The value isn't in the other person's reaction. It's in breaking the pattern of every financial fact living only in your own head. The exact figure matters far less than simply proving to yourself the sky doesn't fall when a number leaves your head and enters a conversation. 5. Notice the 2 seconds before you tap buy. That's the anticipation spike. The actual dopamine hit lives there, not in receiving the item, which studies on reward anticipation have shown repeatedly. Just noticing it, without stopping yourself, quietly weakens its grip over time. Awareness alone measurably reduces impulse buy frequency in behavioral studies, without requiring willpower, because the spike depends partly on the purchase feeling automatic. And automatic things lose some of their pull the moment you consciously notice them happening. It doesn't require abstaining from the purchase at all, just witnessing the spike as it happens, which is often enough to loosen its automatic grip over time. 6. Ask what the purchase is actually replacing. Not what it does, what feeling it's standing in for. Boredom, stress, a bad day. Once you can name the actual feeling, the purchase often loses urgency on its own, because you've located the real target instead of the substitute. This is the same mechanism behind most emotional eating research, just applied to spending instead of food. The object was rarely ever the actual need. Naming the real target doesn't guarantee you won't still buy the thing. It just means you're choosing it consciously instead of on autopilot. 7. Let a financial mistake go uncounted for 24 hours. Don't calculate the damage immediately. The instinct to tally the cost right away comes from panic, not clarity, and panicked math is reliably worse math. Stress narrows attention onto worst-case framing before the full picture is even available. A day of distance produces a more accurate, less catastrophizing number almost every time, simply because the nervous system has time to come back down before the arithmetic starts. Waiting isn't avoidance here. It's simply letting the part of your brain built for arithmetic take over from the part built for alarm. 8. Track feelings alongside expenses, not just amounts. Next to each entry, one word: bored, stressed, happy, needed. Patterns emerge fast. Most people discover the majority of their wasted spending clusters around one or two specific emotional states, which is far more useful to know than the dollar total alone, because the total tells you what happened and the feeling tells you why it keeps happening. Over a few weeks, this turns a spending log from a guilt ledger into an actual diagnostic tool. 9. Separate the story from the number. When a financial regret replays in your head, notice it's usually not the number that hurts. It's what the number meant. Embarrassment, fear, disappointing someone. Naming that separately from the math tends to quiet the replay faster than trying to reason with the number itself, because the replay was never really about arithmetic in the first place. Two people can lose the identical amount of money and carry wildly different amounts of residual distress, purely based on what the loss meant to each of them personally. 10. Practice receiving a compliment about money without deflecting. If someone says, "That was smart," resist the reflex to minimize it. Deflection is often inherited humility that's overcorrected into self-erasure, a habit absorbed from environments where visible financial competence felt risky to display. Letting a genuine win land, just once in a while, slowly rebuilds a healthier relationship with financial competence than constant self-minimizing ever will. Over time, consistently deflecting competence quietly teaches your own brain not to trust your financial judgment, even when the judgment was sound. 11. Give yourself a specific worry window, 10 minutes, same time daily, to actively worry about money. And outside that window, redirect the thought when it shows up. This isn't suppression. It's containment, a well-documented technique from anxiety research for reducing the total time spent in low-grade financial anxiety across the day, because a mind that knows worry has a scheduled slot tends to intrude on the rest of the day less, not more. Most people are surprised to discover the worry doesn't actually need the full day it was quietly taking up. 12. Notice which family member's voice shows up during money stress. Most people, under financial pressure, hear a specific tone or phrase that isn't originally theirs. Identifying whose voice it is doesn't fix anything by itself, but it does something valuable. It separates their old fear from your present decision. So you're not accidentally making today's choice with yesterday's panic borrowed from somebody else's story. You're not obligated to fix or forgive that voice in the moment, just to notice it's not actually yours. 13. Let silence be a full answer once. Next time someone asks a money question you don't want to answer, let the silence sit for a second longer than feels comfortable, instead of rushing to fill it with an excuse. An unexplained silence is a complete boundary. An excuse invites negotiation. Every reason you give is one more thing for the other person to push against. It takes practice, because the urge to fill silence with justification is strong, but the silence itself is doing all the necessary work. 14. Revisit one old money belief you've never questioned. Something you've said or thought 100 times. "I'm just bad with money. We don't talk about this." And ask where it actually came from. Most inherited beliefs about money were formed before age 10 and have simply never been re-examined since, which means they're often still running on evidence from a childhood household that no longer applies to your adult circumstances at all. Sometimes the belief still holds up under examination. Often it doesn't, and simply seeing that is enough to loosen its grip. 15. In the day, naming one thing money let you do, not buy. Not a purchase, an experience, a choice, a moment of safety. This retrains attention toward what money actually enables in your life, rather than only what it's failed to purchase, which is where most people's financial attention defaults by habit, simply because the brain is wired to notice threats and shortfalls far more readily than quiet, ordinary sufficiency. This one closes the loop on all 14 before it. Money was never really the point of any of them. What money makes possible always was. That's 15. None of them require a bigger income, a better budget app, or more discipline than you already have. They mostly require noticing, which, it turns out, is the part almost nobody actually teaches. Here's the pattern running underneath all 15, in case it wasn't obvious by the end. Almost none of them are about money mechanics. Not one tells you where to put a dollar or how to budget it. Every single one is about the layer just underneath the money, the prediction, the story, the inherited voice, the silence, the feeling standing in for the purchase. That's not an accident. Financial behavior is downstream of psychological behavior almost every time, which means the habits that actually move the needle rarely look like financial habits at all. They look like noticing habits, wearing a money-shaped disguise. That's also why most of these are quiet, almost boring, on purpose. Real change to a lifelong pattern rarely shows up as a dramatic overhaul. It shows up as a 2-second pause before a purchase, a single unexplained silence held a beat longer, one old belief finally getting questioned after decades of running unchecked. None of that makes for a dramatic before and after. But drama was never really the measure that mattered here. The measure that matters is whether, a year from now, money still runs the same old script by default, or whether you've started noticing enough of the moments to occasionally write a different one. Pick one, not all 15. One. Run it for a week before adding a second. The habit that sticks isn't the one you tried hardest at. It's the one you actually kept noticing.